Straight Talk, the Film Cynics with Steve and Brian on CFAX 1070.
Welcome back. We hope you've had an informative news break. My name is Steve Johnson. I'm joined by Brian Dukowicz. We are the Film Cynics, talking movies, TV, and pop culture on a Sunday afternoon.
Who wants a DVD review?
The movie is The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. It is directed by Daniel Alfredson, the non-hockey Daniel Alfredson, just for those who are wondering. It's the third in the so-called Millennium trilogy.
The so-called.
Well, I guess is it the Millennium trilogy? Is that what the agreed nomenclature is?
Yes.
Okay. And it stars Noomi Rapace and Michael Nyqvist as a hacker and a journalist, respectively, who are trying to uncover a 3 decades long government conspiracy.
Yeah, this is a tough movie to talk about without talking about the entire series, because it is the summation of two other films.
When we're not going to bog this review down with all of the semantics.
No, and it really is it looks to me like, it felt like to me it was more of a sequel to the second film as it was an ending to the trilogy.
Right.
Because it really picks up where the girl who played with fire left off, like almost immediately after. Mm-hmm. It picks up with Elizabeth Snyder going to hospital and dealing with the ramifications of what she has uncovered.
Right.
And that's sort of like, it just right away, bang, you're into the movie, and it goes.
So, the point form notes of it basically deals with a Russian defector who is actually, it was Elizabeth's father, who came from Russia to Sweden secretly. Nobody knew about it, and it was a massive government cover-up to block that. Within that defection, I guess there was all kinds of gun running and drugs and stuff that was going on, underworld kind of stuff. And in order to keep that quiet, they had to get Elizabeth in a mental hospital when she was 12 years old, where she was abused like crazy. And all of that abuse comes to the surface in the first, second, and, of course, the third film. In the third film, she's on trial for murder. For the attempted murder of her father,
yes.
Which I guess you could have to see the second movie to really know what that was about. Meanwhile, Michael is trying to get her free. He's trying to dig up all of the past. So it's sort of a turnaround in that for most of the time, Lisbeth was digging stuff up for Michael to help him with all of the stuff he was doing, especially in the first one. And now in the third one, Michael's repaying the favor.
Don't get me wrong, I like these as a trilogy. I love the first movie, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, on its own. Like you said, it was one of your favorite movies of the year, and it stands on its own. You can watch it, and if that's the only thing you watch, you have a good time.
And if you're like, that Lisbeth Salander is really super cool, I want to know more, I want to see more.
But you can't watch The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest without seeing at least
the second one.
The second one, if not the first one as well.
Yeah.
Because the second one, the Played with Fire and the Hornet's Nest, are so tied together, there's almost like one giant movie that they cut in two. And they're like, okay, we're going to release this part now and this part later.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it when I saw it, because I wanted to see the end of the trilogy. Like, I saw the first and the second one, I was into it. But as movies, it was nowhere near as good as the first movie.
No. And I mean, I definitely felt the way on that way on the second one. This one, the third film, is better than the second film. But yeah, you're right. The first is the only real standalone. Which is funny in that this is a 2.5 hour movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
2 hours 27 minutes. So in order to be that long and to actually not stand on its own, that's a bit of a liability. But it's part of a trilogy. You will eventually be able to buy the trilogy on all together.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think my favorite part about this, Noomi Rapace,
of course,
she's incredible. She is just a tour de force performance in all three films. She's got a huge career in front of her, I think, now that she's been discovered. She's in the new Sherlock Holmes film, which is going to be great.
Well, hopefully.
And there's some cool special features on here where she's actually talking about her preparation for the character. The interview with her is all in Swedish, so it's a little tricky. But she talks about how she took the character from the books, and her impression was from the books that she read that it's always constantly a contradiction in that the books portray her as this kind of ugly, unattractive woman, but all these men are always sexually attracted to her. And she's constantly smoking, but she's super ninja. And she's like, she likes to drink and lays about all the time, but she can run like a bandit anytime she needs to. So she took it all and tried to amalgamate the contradictions as best she could. So she did a lot of working out that actually gave her more of a masculine type body. She looks at the character of Elizabeth, who she hates that she's a girl. She doesn't want to be looked at as a girl. She wants to be looked at as a sort of a non-sexual being. she sort of considers herself, I guess, asexual because she sleeps with men and women. She doesn't really bog herself down with those kinds of stereotypes.
Interesting.
And I don't know, very interesting interview with her on there. And I mean, you can see how much thought and preparation went into the creation of the character, and then the final result in all the films.
One of my biggest complaints about this part of the trilogy is that there was less Elizabeth Slander in it than in the previous two movies.
Yeah, she's in jail and hospital
she doesn't
for a lot
really
of it.
do a lot. Like in the other movie, she's integral to things driving the plot along and being involved in the action. Whereas here, she's just sort of there as, she's, like you said, she's in jail or the hospital. She's not out running around and being cool.
So yeah, in order to be fascinated with her in this film, you would have to see the prior
Yeah,
films.
and I was a little disappointed in that because to me, the whole point of her is when she's all geared up in her black leather and spikes and everything, and she's being awesome and not wearing hospital gowns.
Yeah.
So that was a little disappointing. And when I saw this movie in the theater, I was so excited. I went to the very first screening of the very first day, and the print arrived late. They actually walked it in as we were buying our tickets, which you think is exciting, but it's not because they don't get a chance to check it. And the movie stopped or broke about 7 times. So my 3.5 or 2.5 hour movie experience became a 3 hour and 15-minute movie experience.
Drag.
So I kind of lost a lot of the momentum towards the end because it kept stopping.
Well, what I found very
But having said
interesting
that,
about
it was still interesting.
this film, in that I don't know if it's the Swedish style, the direction, or the script, or whatever, but it does something different than what your average North American film does. It doesn't sort of dangle over this precipice towards the end. As the movie is wrapping up, it is sort of it's going in this, it's hurtling towards a destination. There's not this sort of doubt of what's going to go on.
Yeah.
Will it come through? Will it not come through? Will they succeed? Will they fail? It's just everything just happens. And I don't know if, I can't tell if that's great or not great. And it's just so different and so unique. And so less ostentatious, I think is the word, I guess, that I really appreciated that. That there was
It's
this
a
sort
nice
of
change.
There was this sort of destiny, this inevitability of how everything was going to go. Like that you know, the doctor Teleborian at the end, he had no idea he was walking into that courtroom and how he was going to walk out of that courtroom. There's no way he could have seen that coming.
Yeah.
But in the same way, we all saw it happening throughout the film. It was all building towards that.
No, it's very an interesting way of dealing with that. They're not trying to make a Hollywood movie. You know, they're making their own movie, their own version of it, and it worked. Like it is an enjoyable movie, and it is worth seeing to wrap up the trilogy.
I have the DVD with me. It looks like it's a DVD case, but it's got the Blu-ray in it as well. So it's a Blu-ray DVD combo.
Cool.
All of the movies in this series came like this. I highly recommend you check it out. It's got great features in there, although they're in Swedish. Deal with it.
It's a Swedish movie. The
Wait
whole
till it
movie's
comes
in
out.
Swedish.
Wait till David Fincher does the trilogy in English.
Yeah.
It comes out this Tuesday from our friends at Alliance.
Definitely giving it a renter.
Yeah, I'm giving it a keeper. Have to be a
What?
keeper.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, okay, that brings us to the end of that review. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be reviewing Machete. Stay with us.